What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders and closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing better than almost everything in the market right now, and especially Credit Suisse getting absolutely hammered to the lows of ever. New all-time lows pretty much every single day, and a lot of the small regional banks are feeling it as well. We did have PPI today at 8:30, but who cares? Nobody cares. Doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter. We got Ron in the morning. That's what matters the most. We got Lou, Franco. Good morning. Yo, Varus, Tanya, Terrence, Eric, Paul, Al. Good morning to Chuck, Rock, Win. Let's see. Andy's in the house. Good morning. Babic, Bill, Brian, Christopher. Good morning. Joe. We got Carrie, Lauren, Martina, Paul. Good morning. Scott. Got the guys piling in. Win, Yovaris. All my peeps in YouTube land. Good morning. We got Scott, Daniel, Jeff, all my people that are just sitting there quietly listening. Good morning to you guys as well. Whew. It's going to be interesting. Chuck says rate reduction in June. I don't know about a reduction, but probably a pause. I think common thought right now, or what the market is expecting, is probably we do a 0.25 this month, which is next. I think it's next Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think we start to shift to a pause. I don't know about reduction yet. Depends on inflation, but the fact that inflation is looking like it's starting to come down a little bit, or at least maintain itself, maybe we can start to look for those pivots again. But I think the thought process around the pivot changed. The reason we're having the pivot is not a good one, right? So before, we needed the pivot because that means that we have inflation. At least the Fed's looking at inflation as under control. Now we're kind of forced pivot. And again, probably we'll get the pause first, and then maybe we start to flip to. But the reason we're even considering the pause and even considering the reduction or pivot isn't the same reason anymore, right? It's because the banks are in some financial trouble, and we've got now even bigger problems. So yeah, the result will be kind of what the market wanted, but is it still? I don't know. We just saw the let's go into on SPY. We'll go to like the 5-minute chart. Let's put on extended hours. Let me get all these colors off the screen. Perfect. This is, where's our 8:30 time frame? That would be this candle right here. No, this candle. So we had a little bit of a push up because that was good news. If we weren't bombarded with what feels like just all the regionalized banks in trouble, going under, will they go under? Will the Fed come in, save deposit? Without any of that, I think today would be a massively bullish day rally. I honestly don't even think we would have gapped down so much into PPI numbers. We'd probably come in flat. So there's a lot of worry out there in the market, right? Even yesterday, and we did rally a little bit, but if you notice, some of the banks that were up, more of the regionalized banks, they were up 40, 50% to start the day. They gave it all back. Even as the market was rallying, you usually when something's gapping up 40, 50% in a day, it's rare that entire move gets wiped. That's a big move to wipe out, right? So just a lot of fear. And then today, just more fear in Credit Suisse. There's also what was it, a Russian plane ran into a US drone. But we told Russia, we said, just be careful next time. So they said it's not us though. So I don't know how much that's playing in, but defensives, Lockheed Martin, even Boeing got a little bit of a pop yesterday off of it. But so you still have that kind of lingering, not the main headline. Obviously, main headline is what in the world is happening with some of these banks, and there's where the fear comes in, where inflation is not even a topic anymore. Inflation topic was transitory. Jose says, seriously, yeah, unfortunately, we just said be careful next time. It's like when two kids are at a school recess and they bump into each other. Like, just be careful. That's all. I'm sure it was an accident. But either way, so today, I mean, so on that PPI, yep, a little bit of a rally, very, very short-lived. The thing that's going to make, and right now we're actually in a squeeze. I'm just noticing too. We are in a TTM squeeze currently below VPOC from extended hours 385.54. It feels weak, but try not to have short-term memory. I can see this thing going any direction, honestly. If you guys remember what was only 2 days ago, we had that massive gap down and then we rallied all day. Is that going to happen? I mean, it could if history does repeat itself. But right now, I mean, I'm looking at every indicator on the smaller time frame with extended hours. We should have a level somewhere around here from this volume. It's kind of where we're hanging out now. So if this could hold, okay, we'll probably get some resistance that comes in. I mean, just off this chart would be 385.93. That would be our first little possible rejection. So a little bit of a move in a bullish direction. If that breaks, next target will be up to this previous VWAP from, I guess that's 2 days ago, 388.22. Could these rallies come in again? It's possible. I tend to think it's not, or I don't think these rallies last as much as we did 2 days ago and then leading into, because keep in mind, all of the bulls on market close yesterday, we had about, I think it was like 4 billion or something to the buy side. Everybody was extremely bullish into the close yesterday. And now all those people trapped immediately at open. That's going to put a different kind of pressure onto the market. And the next target to the downside will be about 381.76. So we still have a little bit more risk reward, probably shorting than going long. We are definitely trapping people from yesterday. So this is a gap and go. The only thing that I'm a little hesitant is just what happened 2 days ago. I mean, that was a very ugly open. Markets did not look strong whatsoever, and then they found a way to rally off of it. So these are some tricky markets. There's a lot happening, right? And that's why I do try to cover a lot of the macro stuff, because it's all macro news right now. Every single piece of news is just coming in from the macro. Let's take a real look at the daily chart. Chuck says I'm working on patience at open. It's a process. Scott says Tesla going up or down today. We'll take a look at it. I'll tell you right now, I have no idea, but we can put our best guess in for risk reward. So SPY again, a little bit of volume above us, 385.09 right there, and then this is a small move, so 381. So again, we could hit resistance. We have a lot more volume higher up on this one. This is a yeah, we're into the two day ago candle. So we did trap any of these bulls. What I would like to see, and I don't know if this happens, but what I would love to see is we get a push into, so that's Monday's VPOC. That would give me a better risk to reward to the downside, but I kind of want to short all the rips. Keep in mind we have this, right? So this is the area we bounced off of last time. When we opened up here, and we were actually deeper into this at that point, and that was our support. Now we're opening a little bit higher, pretty much right at it. This is a tough. This is a very tricky open. I kind of want to lean bearish, but that is a very strong support. If this thing starts to break down and we get closed under this thing, market is like if there's any bulls that have a pulse right now in the market, that's the zone they really want to protect. So we'll see. I almost gotta wait and see what happens at this open, and then kind of play some candles, see if we get maybe some kind of double bottom somewhere at a good spot or something like that. But just on true definition of it, it is technically a gap and go. Are we too much into that support? And is the market going to remember 2 days ago? Wes says, this is fine. House on fire, but this is fine. Yeah. No, nothing to see. Yesterday we were starting that generational rally that everybody now everyone's all sad, depressed. They're like, oh, guess it wasn't. Guess that one day wasn't it. Qs, same thing. So this is a retest gap. If this is a gap and go. If I was to say anything, if we think back to Monday, that's a long time ago. But if we think back to Monday, some of the leaders, some of the stronger companies were in the tech sector, right? So we were getting some decent rallies from NVIDIA was giving it to us. Tesla was giving it to us. Meta was giving it to us. Apple has remained strong. So I almost kind of want to divide it up a little bit where if I was to take anything bullish, it probably wouldn't be the Credit Suisses. I'd stay away from the Bank of Americas. The JP Morgan's held up well, but they're still going to be tied in the same sector. I don't think to the same exposure like SVB. Lob is another one. LOB got absolutely destroyed. WAL, WAL, which is Western Alliance, they got halted a couple times. I think there was a whole bunch of banks halted. So the small regional banks, they're going to get murdered today, and I don't think those are buy the dips. You could make a case just because JP Morgan, Bank of America, they even I would say Bank of America kind of came down a lot too, but JP Morgan especially, I don't know if I would want to short those guys. I also think that they're on the receiving end of a lot of the deposits being pulled out of these banks. So I would make a case like if you're going to play anything bullish financial, it would have to be one of the bigger companies. Otherwise, I would say anything related or tied to financials, I'd be looking to continue to sell rips. And if anything has a chance to run, it's going to be anything in tech sector, because that's just what we saw, and they're not directly tied to. Like, keep in mind they had a lot of the deposits in SVB and some of these other banks, but the government is backing it, right? So they're safe on their deposits. The institutions themselves, not so much. So if we're going to make a bullish case, I think it's got to be, I have to stick with tech, and then anything else, it's probably going to be sell rips. They're really making me pick this market apart with a fine-tooth comb today. But I have a dotted line here. This is a longer-term volume area for the Qs. We are sitting right at it. That would make a very decent bounce spot for some of these tech names that are tied into the Qs. Hector's in the house. What's up, buddy? We had a comment on YouTube to take a look at the Tessie. So again, it is a gap down, but it's inside of yesterday's candle. Compare that to the Qs, compare that to the SPY. It's actually holding pretty decent. I think we get a brief pop on this one at open. And I think the chance to sell it or go short would be somewhere around this 180, 87 to 181 zone. So anytime you see this inside day candle, it's not going to be the easiest trade. Typically, it comes down to just buy low, sell high, right? So risk to reward, if we start bouncing, we get some kind of a little bounce at open into that zone. All right, well, I could put my stop above yesterday's high, and then I would look to short it somewhere at this VPOC, which is a high volume area. and that's where we should get resistance. So again, does it fly through? Maybe I lose the R if I try it that way, and this thing just rips up and has the most incredible day Tesla's ever had. But all right, I lose an R. But that's how I would have to try it if I was going to. And then to the short side, right now I would have somewhere down there as my target, right? So it's not going to be too wide, nothing too crazy. That still gives us a decent trade, especially if we're buying it after the retest into the VPOC. So that's 173.74 would be my target. Maybe go 174. Just see if you could design any trade to potentially get 2 Rs into 174. And then if the whole market's tanking, tech looks like it's coming down, you want to try to run it, maybe we do break through that, then you'll have a really extremely nice trade. But you'd have the opportunity to move stops. So yeah, I'm looking for somewhere, I'll call it 181, but somewhere in that zone. That would be my spot to short. Gives me good risk reward. So about 184 would be my stop. And again, we're not breaking out in any certain direction. Kyle says Ricky just set up bearish striker play on Tesla. I don't know if you know, but Ricky's Australian, so it's pretty much a different language. Yeah, I think it has something to do. I think it's something to do with I think it has something to do with like almost a butterfly type effect. Striker's not a real, striker is a real word, but not in a common sense. I think it's actually short for something else. So yeah, I don't know exactly. I think it has something to do with almost like a butterfly or some kind of spread or something like that. Yeah, Aussie. They I don't know if Jenny's here, but she'll testify. They speak English, but not English I understand. So, you know. He lost you too on that one. No, it's not a 3. I don't yeah, it is something to do with the 3 bars. Yeah, it's like a break out of 3 bars or something like that. But I thought he played it with options. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, so I can't say. But Ricky's very, very good at getting back on Slack if you do want to send a message out. Darian's in the house. Speaking of strikers, that is one striking fella. See, that's how I use the word. Win says it's a 3-bar play. Is it above 3 candles or is it the breakout of the second though? Because 3-bar play would be the breakout of the second. It's a little different. 3-bar play I could speak to. I play that one. I like the 3-bar play. I just don't know about above or below 3 in a row. Yep. Okay. All right. So we'll see what happens on Tesla. But again, my plan would be, if I'm going to play it, short as high as possible and go long as low as possible. One day I'll understand it's something that Ricky says. Just one day. Even Dean, I mean, when we were doing the podcast, no clue what he said the whole time. It's crazy. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I speak English. I'm like, yeah, but I don't speak English myself. I'm like, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's me, actually. All right. So Netflix is still looking a little bit of weak sauce out there in the market. We've obviously sold a lot of it. I was hoping we could get some kind of a rally. Anything above, we played this one in the mentor group I was doing yesterday, but this is was a 296, 297. I'm looking for that to break, and then we should have good upside. The reason that I'm still kind of leaning a little bit more to the bullish side is I have one of these stupid little gray lines that I drew forever ago and got there. We had a nice little bounce, good retest off of it. So again, this doesn't look great though, right? The fact that now we're opening below all of those VPOCs, that's going to be a huge resistance in the way, but we still have this little support. So I want to see how this one plays out, but I probably won't play Netflix today just because it's a little bit in a tighter zone. Oh, Terrence posted in Slack. All right, beautiful. Amazon, same thing. So a little bit of a gap down into some kind of support. Could be a little choppy at open. Yeah, if I was to take a stab in the dark, I'd say pretty choppy at open for most things in the tech world, at least. So I don't think it's a must-have Russian today type scenario. We have a little bit of a retest gap on Coinbase. Some levels of support there. Bitcoin was still looking relatively strong. as well. At least from the last few days, I didn't really see today. Google, gap and go, but at the lows of yesterday. So it is a gap and go, just not quite clearing. This would be one where maybe you attempt it bullish, possibly. Just on a pure risk reward basis. Obviously, anybody that got in yesterday is trapped. So we might start falling a little bit and then look for like a 92.22 for a bounce. Otherwise, if you want to get aggressive with it, all right, you can probably put your stops kind of low of the day, and hopefully we don't break yesterday's candle. We get some kind of a run into $94. I'll look to watch to see what happens at open. But if we have any kind of like pre-market double bottom, anything like that, it might be worth a shot just in case. Chad says thinking of buying some Intel calls. Intel's actually been holding decently through all this, but keep in mind they got absolutely wrecked prior to any of this. Intel's like the OG of getting wrecked. They're like, what took you guys so long? We thought this was a race. Meta might actually be an interesting opportunity to take a put. I know that feels very uncomfortable, but risk reward again. If you to get some kind of puts here, we're at least below yesterday's VPOC. I still don't love the placement of this one for like, this is a huge, definitely go heavy on the amount of puts you're buying, but risk reward, if you get any close really above yesterday's candle to the high side, I would just close out, take the loss. Otherwise, maybe we could be looking at a double top, right? We are still technically below yesterday's VPOC. Maybe we use that as support or resistance, and then we kind of come down a little bit. So Meta, I'm going to play around with that one. Maybe look for a put. Day trade basis, if we do fade, again, even this gap is not that impressive. Like, we're still inside to the higher end of the range yesterday. I'm just looking at where we got rejected. It's got lots and lots of volume up there. Plus, we have yesterday's actual intraday volume too. So maybe we could look for a fade, but again, probably just not going to be the first one to do it. In fact, if Darian does it, then I'll do it. So you let me know, Darian. I want you to be the first one. Chuck says, I made half an hour on Netflix long yesterday. Yep. Yeah, it was good. I mean, it just didn't have the ability to break out higher. Otherwise, we would have had a really nice trade on that one. If it had a little bit more momentum, it could get a little bit higher. Netflix, it could get some legs. Roku, not really doing too much. I think Intel. That was the question, right? INTC. I would wait on Intel calls based on here. You are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row bullish. So if you like Intel, which is okay, we had a little bit of double bottom, kind of holding this range a little bit. You're about, like, here's our range, right? And you're about 50-50 on it. Something like that would be our channel on Intel. And you're kind of smack in the middle. So what I would do is either wait for some kind of a pullback. You might not, we did make some higher lows, which is interesting, right? But it's still, at this point, I would wait for some kind of a pullback. And then maybe I'd be looking for 26.36. So if we get down to like 26.36, that might be the opportunity to buy some calls on Intel. Otherwise, since we've run already a little bit, you do have a lot of market selling pressure in general. So one bad news or the market really starts to slip, I think that will bring that tide will bring all the boats down to some extent. These guys have been beat up, but also I'm not impressed with any of the earnings that they've put out. Like, they're hurting as well, right? Just in general, as a management portion of the company, they've also cut dividends, I think, by 66%. So for investor purpose, they're not the most attractive right now, but if you're going to do it, I see why, right? They've actually been holding. They are down a lot still. could be decent to buy calls, but just wouldn't do it today. I would have to wait for a little bit of a bigger pullback. Turn out captions. I just saw that. No, today was the first day. I even said to the group, I was like, Nvidia, I wanted to buy the calls so bad yesterday, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they even got me yesterday. I saw us got out pretty much at open on 2 days ago on the puts that I got for Nvidia. Yesterday, it got back to that zone, which I just keep buying puts off of. And even yesterday, it just felt a little bit different. I said, it's back at my price. I've been doing this. It's been working really, really nice. And I was like, today kind of feels different, though. Like, there's so much bullishness that I'm like, this might be the spot where we can finally get that break. And I even got shook of getting in again. So I made some really decent money just every time it gets that zone, buy some puts. I don't think I'm still out of the woods yet, but I'm not going to do it here. I still do need another rally. But the market got me from trying to hop back in on those. CP with a gap and go. Is that earnings news? Merger between Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Southern is approved. Okay, so a little bit of merger news. You are at a little bit of support. That definitely looks different than everything else. I don't know how these guys trade. I've never traded them before. So the immediate target I'd be looking for is like 78.50. That doesn't give me too much upside. But that is a nice gap for sure. Let me see the weekly real quick. What do we got? 2 minutes left. Weekly, yeah, probably anything above. If we could get to 78.61, so break out of that weekly candle, that's going to give us a lot more momentum. And this is this week, so technically it looks like a retest gap, but this is all going to be a little bit of a bullish looking engulfing candle if that holds by end of Friday. We also have quad witching coming up on Friday, so be careful too. I think maybe things could start to normalize Monday, so let's clear off a lot of those puts, calls, option plays. There'll be a lot of options expiring on Friday. And could be a little bit chaotic. But then going forward, maybe we could finally start to look to break some kind of channels. And again, we do have the Fed coming out on Wednesday to raise the I think it's pretty much 0.25. I think if anything outside of that, the markets will move. Otherwise, I think it'll probably actually be a little muted. Appy. What is Appy? Apps? Oh, Apple. Got you. Apple below 150 on the hourly looks like a dream. Double top. Yep, so you have a little double top here. Obviously, that's being good resistance up in that zone. Even again, so I mean, tech is still holding. So if you do want to go long, I think it's got to be tech. Anything else would be sell the rips. Fortunately, I got 3 seconds left. Everybody on YouTube land, love you guys. Appreciate you guys joining us each and every day. Make sure you guys hit that little like, subscribe, check out reallifetrader.com. We do have absolutely free freemium beginner, intermediate, advanced courses. You guys are more than welcome to take or join us, hang out with us each and every single day. We do this till 6 p.m. every